Thanks for joining us for the recorded version of The Last Grizzly Bear. This adventure story follows two young tooth fairies, Crocus and Iris, as they attempt to find a new home for the last California grizzly bear. The story will be read for you by Valerie and Michael Nelson. The book begins with a quote from a text called The California Grizzly, Gone But Not Forgotten by Winston McFarlane, 1957.
The last recorded sighting of the California grizzly bear occurred in December of 1922 in rural Sonoma County. 35 years later, biologists have all but given up hope that grizzlies still roam the wilderness of California, and Ursus californicus is now considered to be extinct. As one scientist wrote, "It would be a miracle if any of these magnificent bears still lived." And now, Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Invisible. Crocus watched as a lavender fairy burst through the tree canopy, dodging floating fairy babies and leaving quivering leaves in her wake. Crocus always sensed her best friend's magic before she saw her, but Iris's daredevil speed took her by surprise. Something must be up. Several of the nursery tenders glared at Iris's speedy approach with disapproval, before going back to caring for the infant fairies drifting like colorful bubbles throughout the nursery grotto. Purple hair swirling, Iris landed in front of Crocus with a whisper of wings and the soft thump of bare feet landing in dew-softened moss. "We're competing in the forest song tooth hunt today." Crocus let go of the yellow blob-like baby she'd been shaping. The little kittle remained floating in front of her, orange hair shimmering. "Did you say the forest song tooth hunt?" "Yep." And it's today?" "Yep." Crocus frowned. "Forest song hunts are just for forest song clan members. They'd never let us silverleafs join their tooth hunts." "Narcissus Forest Song herself said we could join, and if we do well, I'm sure she'll vote to let us attend tooth retrieval school." The kittle drifted to the side, and Crocus grabbed the baby fae before it floated out of reach. "You talked to Narcissus Forest Song? Actually spoke to her? The Queendom's top retriever?" Iris couldn't hold her wings still. Her feet bounced up and down on the emerald moss, dappled sun glinting off of her butterfly-like wings as they fluttered. "Yes, I talked to her. How's she going to know who we are unless we get her attention? And as head teacher, her vote at selection is really important." The kittle's ear had slipped to its chin. Crocus delicately clasped the ear, sliding it back into place. "I can't believe you just flew up and talked to her." The kittle's ear started to slip again, and Crocus flattened her fingers over the ear, holding it in position. "Well, she's the one we need to impress, and we have to do it before selection. Otherwise, we'll have to wait another year. And that's another whole year of living here in the nursery and doing this." Iris swept her arm at the busy tenders and the younglings in the nursery, each one patiently trying to keep the kittles in recognizable fairy shapes. "Here, can you take her?" Crocus handed the kittle to Iris. "Keep her ear right there, will you?" Iris took the fairy baby and placed a finger over the ear, holding it in place. "Can you believe we used to be like this? Glowing globs of wild magic floating around?" "I know, it's unbelievable, given how good-looking we are now," Crocus grinned, then snagged another floating kittle, holding it up to show Iris. "Look at this one. Her nose is inside of her mouth." "Ew, fix it. That's just weird." Iris watched as Crocus shifted the nose into place. "You enjoy fixing these bubblers, don't you?" Iris lifted her finger from the kittle's ear, waiting to see if it stayed in place. "Well, it's fun. Myrtle says I have a natural talent for it. She told me to think about becoming a tender." Crocus glanced at Iris out of the corner of her eye as she spoke. Iris stiffened. "She said that? But she knows we're going to be retrievers. Who'd want to be a tender when you can be a retriever?" Crocus glared at Iris. "Not so loud. They'll hear you," she whispered. They both glanced around the grotto. 4 tenders and several youngling helpers worked on kittles, using tooth magic to smooth and form their features. Overhead, more than a dozen colorful kittles floated like bubbles, bouncing off of each other with happy grins that weren't always in the right place. No one paid any attention to the 2 friends. Iris continued in a softer voice, "Look, everyone knows the queendom needs tenders, but I bet all of them," she indicated the tenders working around them, "wanted to be retrievers first. They didn't get to, but we can. With so many new human babies these days, they'll need more retrievers than ever. That's good for us." "I guess," Crocus said. Iris held up the kittle. "This here looks good for now." She bopped the baby fairy on the bottom, bouncing it upward like a party balloon. "In any case, I'd be a terrible tender. I'd eventually give up and let them look however they wanted. Arms on the tops of their heads, ears on their bellies, whatever. You're much more patient than I am." Iris stretched her arms over her shoulders to stroke her wings before continuing. "And once we're in retrieval school, no more tending these little blurpies. We'll have our own grotto with our own scrying bowl and be sneaking into outworld homes under the pillows while the humans sleep, traveling back through the in-between, bringing teeth humming with magic. We'll be retrievers, tooth stars of the queendom." Satisfied with a repositioned nose, Crocus pushed her kittle up into the air, where it floated happily toward the others. "We still have to get selected for retrieval school," Crocus reminded her. Iris ran her hands through her long purple hair, stretching it out over her head where it floated as though weightless. "Stop worrying. When I offered to join the tooth hunt," Crocus snorted. "When you offered?" "Okay, asked. When I asked to join." Iris watched Crocus's expression and then laughed. "Oh, fine. I begged. I pestered. You know me. I don't give up. And Narcissus finally said yes." Crocus frowned. "They won't let us win, you know. For the forest songs, it's always about being top clan. They'll rig the tooth hunt so that we lose." Iris lowered her voice again. "Let them. They'll probably hide our tooth somewhere really hard. But what if we find it anyway? Then Narcissus will be so impressed, she'll make sure we get chosen at the selection. We don't even have to be first place in the hunt. If we're one of the top 3, that should be good enough." "Top 3? Fine. We only settle for first place." Iris grinned, grasping Crocus's hands. They stared into each other's eyes as they floated into the air. "Is that good enough for you? First place, and then retrieval school?" Iris twisted in the air until she was upside down, dragging the floating Crocus with her. "Because I'm what?" "You're nuts." Iris cocked her head to the side, giving Crocus her serious look. "Because I'm what?" Crocus rolled her eyes, grinning. "Because you are one half of the soon-to-be best retriever duo in the queendom," Crocus answered with their usual mantra. "Bee's knees I am. And what are you?" "I am the other half," Crocus called out as the 2 fairies started to spin in the air above the nursery grotto. "And together we'll be—" "Invisible!" Crocus shouted. Iris laughed. "We'll be invincible, not invisible." "Invisible's pretty good if you think about it." "Invisible it is, then. We'll be invisible." They released hands and swirled up into the air, Iris leading the way. "On to the tooth hunt, where they'll never see us coming, because we're invisible." Iris turned back to look at Crocus as she flew. "Get it? We're invisible?" Crocus zipped forward and knocked her shoulder into Iris's. "Ha ha! Hilarious!" As they whizzed through the sun-sparkling canopy above the nursery grotto, Crocus's smile faded. She doubted Narcissus' forest song would let 2 silverleaf clan fairies swoop in and win the forest song tooth hunt. No, Narcissus had another reason for letting them join, and Crocus feared that they were about to find out just what that reason was.